Hey everyone, welcome back to Bad Bassin'. Today we're going to talk about 10 things that you may want to know if you want to get into kayak fishing tournaments. Stay tuned. Okay, so number 10, starting at number 10 here. Do you need a super expensive top of the line kayak to get involved in kayak tournaments? The answer is no, you do not. The majority of the people, no, not going to lie to you, you're probably going to run into a lot of the higher end kayaks with majority of the people that are in these tournaments. It's just the nature of, getting into the sport and getting deep into the sport. When you start to get into some of the tournaments, yeah, you're going to run into majority of the people that have the higher end Hobies, the higher end Old Towns, the higher end Natives, and stuff like that. But I have seen, and there are plenty of people that have a $300 kayak, and it really comes down to the experience of the angler, how well you fish rather than the kayak that you're in. I have seen $300 kayaks, people come out and outfish people with $6,000 Hobies, $6,000 whatever it is, any day of the week. Now you will run into almost all of the kayaks that are in these tournaments going to be either motor powered or pedal powered. You don't see a whole lot of paddle powered kayaks in any of the tournaments anymore. I've seen a couple here and there, but majority of them are pedal, and really a lot of thing is going towards motors, and even two motors on kayaks. Obviously electric motors. So some leagues, some trails have different rules about that. It's really dependent on the trail and the league that you're in, but just understand you will be probably going against anglers that have a little bit more range if you're coming in there with a paddle kayak. So kind of staying in the same family here, number 9, do I need top of the line items to be able to compete in these tournaments? No, the answer is no. You don't need all the top line gear. You don't need $500 rods. You don't need, $40, $80 lures and stuff to be able to do it. I think a lot of that comes into the passion that people have for kayak or for fishing in general. So yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff out there that people are throwing. One of the things I love to do with my kayak, and I'll come out with some videos of this on the channel here, is to mod it out and to do different things and get creative with it. That's one of the number one things why I love kayak fishing, is just the blank canvas that a kayak can be. So you don't need all those different electronics. Now you're going to run into a lot of the majority of the people having the down scan, the side scan. A lot of people now do have live scope. I mean, it's just a lot more affordable than it used to be even 5 years ago. It's still pretty expensive, but it's a lot more affordable, so you're starting to see that a lot. But no, you don't need all that kind of stuff. The angler makes the experience. So number 8, what are the bare necessity or the required gear that you're going to need to get into some sort of tournament and to do a tournament? Well, obviously, first and foremost, you're going to need a kayak. Obviously, majority, it's not going to be some John boat or something like that. Majority of the rules on a lot of these leagues are basically if the manufacturer identifies that as a kayak, then you're going to be able to use that. Pedal, paddle, some things you can get into that allow motors or ban motors, electric motors, just depending on the league that you're in or the trail that you're in. But first and foremost, it's got to be designated as a kayak by the manufacturer. Number 2 of those things that you need is a measurement board. So the big measurement board that has dominated the market for years and years was Catch. They do a great job, make a great product. I got one myself. Yak Attack has now come out this year, starting where a lot of the leagues are allowing this measurement board. But each league has a verified measurement board that you have to have. Number 3 there, a phone. You're going to need your phone with you. Fishing kayak tournaments, they're all catch, photo, release. I've never seen one that does any sort of weight or anything like that, so you're going to be taking photos of the fish on those measurement boards. They're going to be submitted via those apps. There's a lot of different apps out there. Majority of the leagues that are out there use Tourney X. That's one of the biggest ones, but there's a lot of proprietary different ones. I'm in Michigan, so there's one around here with Top Water. They have their own app that they use. Fishing Chaos. There's a number of different ones that are out there, but a lot of them use that Tourney X. So you're going to need a phone and an app, obviously, on your phone to be able to submit your fish to whatever tournament that you're in. And typically, that's really how you sign up for tournaments as well, is use either the proprietary app for the league that you're in or through Tourney X. And then, obviously, number 4, required equipment, PFD. Every single tournament, every single league trail that I've been in has always required some sort of PFD and to be worn during the entirety of the tournament. So you can, in the leagues that I've fished, you can be disqualified if you're not wearing your PFD, whether you're catching a fish or not. So, number 7, how are fish submitted for the tournament? So I touched on it a little bit in the previous point. We're going to be basing it off measurement and not weight. It's not MLF. You're not going to have someone that's sitting on your kayak with you taking the weight of the fish. So you catch that fish, you put it on your measuring board, you take a picture of it, and you upload it to the app, whatever app it is. Well, how do we know that that fish was caught on that day in that tournament? So you're going to have some sort of tag for that league. It typically is going to have a logo for the league or the trail that you're in, and then there's going to be a code that the tournament director or the league is going to release either the day before, or the day of, or the night or the morning of, whatever time you're fishing before the tournament. It might be ABC 1, 2, 3. You write that on your tag, so that way you're able to know that that fish was caught on that day with that identifier, and it was submitted correctly, and it wasn't a fish that was caught 2 weeks ago and stuff like that. Number 2 to that point is you're going to have location services on your phone. So when you take that picture, you're going to have the ability for the tournament director, when they look at that picture via the app, that it knows exactly where you were when you submitted that fish. Again, so you can't go catch a fish in your best fishing spot 2 miles over and then submit it for a tournament that occurs on a different day in a different lake. Okay, so number 6. Is it all fish or is it just bass? Well, the simple answer is that it's really typically going to be just bass. Some sort of, obviously largemouth, smallmouth, or something like that. It really depends on the league that you're in. There's obviously different parts of the country that have different opportunities and might make something that's unique for some sort of species of fish, which is always really cool and fun and exciting. But majority of the tournament anglers that are out there doing kayak fishing tournaments are going to be targeting some sort of bass. I've seen some pike and stuff come through, but really in my neck of woods in Michigan here, it's all bass fishing. That's all I've ever seen really when it comes to kayak fishing tournaments. Now, I've seen a lot of different walleye and stuff like that in some other tournaments outside the kayak scene, but majority are going to be bass. So number 5, how do I get paid in these tournaments? Well, hopefully you're going to find this out really quick because you're going to join some tournament and you're going to make a good amount of money right away, right? Well, typically in my experience, it's really been through PayPal. You sign up through the apps or the websites or whatever you're signing up through for their particular league, and a lot of times you pay the entry fee, which we'll cover in a little bit here, through PayPal. So they kind of obviously send you your winnings in that. Now, again, it's dependent on the league, so you could get some sort of check, money wire, or something like that. So we talked a little bit about how you submit fish, but for number 4, we're going to cover what is the format of these tournaments. Well, again, it kind of depends a little bit on the tournament itself. I've seen everything from your best 5 bass to the biggest bass, to even like a March Madness style tournament where you're going against biggest bass for an angler week to week and moving through ranks and all that good stuff. There might be non-motorized leagues where they're not allowed, electric motors. There might be paddle only. There might be pedal only leagues. There might be no live sonar leagues. There might be no fish finder leagues. I mean, there's even times where you can do on-site or off-site tournaments. So one of the cool things about having an app and running things through app is that you can have tournaments, and I do a lot of them that last an entire month, because you are submitting things via app, right? And they're being judged by someone that obviously doesn't even have to be there or next to you. So a lot of tournaments will, in addition to their single day in person, you're all on one body of water, you might have a month-long tournament that whoever catches the 5 best fish over the course of that month, and whatever public body of water you can get into is going to take home the purse for that month. So number 3, does it cost money to be in one of these kayak fishing tournaments? Well, typically the answer is yes. It's going to cost some sort of entry fee to fish some of these tournaments. Obviously, when you're kind of dealing with a tournament, you're kind of looking at some sort of purse payout. That's kind of one of the incentives of doing some sort of tournament. So these entry fees can vary widely between leagues. I mean, and really even depend on the format of the tournament itself. You might have, like I mentioned, some of the monthly tournaments that might be $5 to get into the monthly tournament, where you can fish wherever you want. Or you might have, in-person tournaments that are national trails that are coming in and doing, very large events and very sought-after bodies of water that might be $150. Obviously, and everything in between. Your purse is going to be a lot bigger for the winner on the $150 versus the purse on the $5, depending on the number of people that join. A lot of them, each league is very specific. A majority of the leagues, I would say, probably are anywhere between $20 to $40 on any given tournament. But it really, again, depends on the type of tournament, the type of format that you're doing, and not only just entry fees, but you also have to look at sometimes, it's not necessarily every league, because I'd say it's more often than that not that you don't necessarily need a membership, but sometimes you do have membership fees to join some of these trails. Whatever that is, each one's different, but you might have to also take that into account. It might be $5 or $15 to join the trail for the year, to help keep up whatever the stuff they're doing behind the scenes and stuff. But you got to look at each individual trail. But there's plenty of them that don't require any sort of membership, and you're really just paying the entry fee for that particular tournament that you're fishing that day. So number 2. Where do you find these kayak fishing tournaments in these leagues and these trails and all this kind of stuff? Well, I would say number 1 place that I would go is Facebook. That's where I started. I found a lot of different trails and leagues and stuff. The ones that I actively fish are all on Facebook, and really you're able to kind of narrow it down to more of the locals. Some of the local leagues are more Facebook centered, and they're more active on Facebook. So start there, look at what's around you when it comes to leagues. But also, there's a bunch of different kayak trails that are nationwide. KBF is one of those. Native has a great no limit, format that they run all across the country. They just released their schedule. I mean, even some of the, in addition to Native, even some of the manufacturers have their own kind of style and stuff. Hobie has one that runs all, is a big one too. So there's a lot of different ways to find it. Majority of the stuff, I'd encourage you to look on Facebook, throw it into Google, search, kayak fishing tournaments near me, kayak fishing tournaments near your city, your state, and all that good stuff. And I'm sure you're going to be able to get hooked up with a really good league. So number 1, and really the number 1 reason why I wanted to make this video is you're a new kayak fisherman, or maybe you've been kayak fishing for a while and you're wondering, hey, I go out on a Saturday, I go out on a Sunday, I do all right, it's enjoyable, but why should I join some sort of tournament? And really the number 1 reason is because there is a great community out there that exists. There is a great group of people out there that exist that you are not taking advantage of, and that you should really take advantage of. I unfortunately, in my opinion, I think fishing, although there's it's a great sport, there's sometimes not great experiences with the people that are involved out there. And I think you know, when I first started on the kayak fishing tournament scene, which was about 3 years ago, I was really hesitant just because of that. I didn't know really what to expect and what it was going to be like. And I can tell you, it was like the complete opposite of what I've experienced in other aspects of fishing and stuff like that. Is there's been great people that are super welcoming. If you think about kayak fishing, it's kind of like a niche inside of a niche, right? And so it really brings in, and I know it might sound silly, but it kind of brings in like a brotherhood of camaraderie that exists between the people that do it. You know, it's different than just jumping on a boat and flying all over the place. I mean, you slow things down. You got to slow things down. There's a really, you know, there's almost an art to doing kayak fishing. Plus, there's a really strong, you know, secondary modding community that's out there with kayaks, and people are always bouncing ideas off each other. So I really encourage you guys to go out there this year, get outside your comfort zone, try to do something that you've never done, and I'm telling you, I think you'd be really pleasantly surprised about the people that you're going to meet, the experiences that you're going to get, the knowledge that exists out there with the type of people that are in this community, because it's not even just locals for me. You know, I've made some great friends locally, but there's great people that exist, you know, all over the country that are really active in this scene and stuff. So I encourage you guys all to get out there, get outside your comfort zone, try something new this year, try to look up a league, see if you can make some friends out there, get involved a little bit. It's fun, it's an active thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, like, subscribe. I'm going to try to be doing some great things with the channel this year, and I look forward to seeing you guys all as we move through 2025. So take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.